In May 2018, editor Deborah Plant published Barracoon, the story of the last black cargo, by writer and anthropologist Zora Neale Hurston. It was written in 1931, but remained unpublished for over 80 years.
When we look at the narrative that Zora Neale Hurston safeguarded for us, she's showing us this humanity which was denied, this whole cultural wealth of African-American peoples.
The book contains interviews with Cudjoe Lewis, or Cosala, who was brought to America on the Clotilda, thought to be the last ship to bring enslaved Africans to America. The public library in Mobile, Alabama, houses remarkable archival material about the Clotilda.
These are the original photographs from the Clotilda collection.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Mayer, who was the financier of the trip.
Right.
Yes, Captain William Foster.
Right. It's here on the back.
Some inscription.
Captain Foster brought the last cargo of slaves from Ouida, Kingdom of Dahomey in West Africa, Southern Alabama in 1860. Okay.
By 1860, the United States was no longer involved in the international slave trade, but we know that there were many shipbuilders and investors who were involved illegally. Mayer commissions Foster to acquire enslaved people from the Benin region and bring them back into the United States illegally. Once they are off-boarded in the Mobile area, Captain Foster actually burns the ship so that no one can find out about this illegal transaction. The 110 people are sold off to planters, and many of them are kept by the Mayer family.
In the library of Mobile, Alabama, publisher Deborah Plant investigates archival materials from one of the last survivors of the Clotilda, the final slave ship known to arrive on U.S. shores.
And here's our Cosala, right? Yeah. And he's smiling. You don't see him smiling a lot.
Yes.
But he's smiling here.
Cudjoe Lewis, or Cosala, was one of the 60 enslaved Africans kept by Timothy Mayer and his two brothers. In 1928, Zora Neale Hurston interviewed Cosala. These conversations provide an incredibly rare account of what it was like for a captive transported from Africa to a life of enslavement in America's Deep South. But the real significance of Hurston's interviews is what they tell us about Cosala's West African heritage and his identity.
When Zora Neale Hurston interviews Cosala, she calls him by his African name. And he's so happy that he hears his name called. He says, "My name, not Cudjoe Lewis, it Cosala." And he goes on to explain that people like Timothy Mayer could not call his name properly, but he says, "My mama, she named me Cosala." As we remember his name, we are remembering his whole idea, vision, and wisdom about who he is. And this allows us to see what happened on the continent. We began to see not only what happened to us, but the effects of it, the trauma.
In some ways, what slavery tells us is that resistance is at the heart of who they are in order to survive. Resistance in large and small ways, maintaining language, maintaining culture, finding ways to strike blows for freedom.